I get this question a lot when I'm teaching hazmat classes on what's the most dangerous chemical out there. And I always answer with the same three: gasoline, propane, and methane, or natural gas. And there's always a little bit of shock because they expect me to list a toxic chemical. And the thing is that with toxic chemicals, I can control, or I can understand where they're located, and I can keep myself out of that toxic environment. Whereas flammability, I can be in a safe area 10, 20, 100 feet from a home or a building. My monitor can say 0, and inside that building is a flammable atmosphere that ignites, explodes, and I'm eating house. So I usually look towards flammability first because it's more difficult to control and it can reach out and get me. So the other thing about these 3 chemicals is that there's the fact that we go on them often. We go on natural gas leaks, gasoline spills, propane leaks on a regular basis. So the odds of us encountering them increases the odds of us being injured by them. And you can look, there's multiple stories of firefighters killed and injured by these chemicals. So we're seeing them frequently. This leads to complacency. It also leads to complacency to the fact that we're used to being around these chemicals every day. When you get into your car, it's full of gasoline. You don't expect it to explode while you're driving down the street. When you cook at your home on a gas cooktop, you don't expect a giant fire and explosion, because in that environment, it's controlled. It's got control measures and safety factors built into it to keep it safe. But we don't respond to them when they're under control. We respond to them when they're out of control and the safety measures are gone. And so it changes something that we're used to working with on a daily basis that is safe to something that can be incredibly hazardous to us. So there's complacency built into it. And the complacency leads to a complacent response on how we respond, and taking it for granted that there won't be a problem or we're not going to get hurt. And it also leads us to not learn about the enemy. We don't do the research to understand these 3 chemicals. 3 chemicals that you're going to go on this week. We should know everything we can about them because that's how we mitigate the risk as best as possible. So I'll give you an example of this complacency, some that I want to call that I was complacent as well as others there. I was a captain. I got responded to a report of a smell of natural gas. Single engine response. We get there, and I meet with the RP, who's the downwind next door neighbor, and they say, we've been smelling natural gas for a couple days. Red flags. As I'm talking to them, the neighbor upwind comes and says, I too have been smelling natural gas for a couple days. More red flags. As we're talking, I ask who owns the house. They said it's in foreclosure. There's been a lot of weird things going on. Multiple red flags. So I take the firefighter and I walk up to the home. I start smelling some natural gas. More red flags. But I continue to the gas meter. I get to the gas meter and I can see it spinning madly. I mean, there's a leak somewhere, a significant leak. I instinctively reach down and I shut it off. And that's when I realize, I'm in just turnouts, no mask, and I back away. I then evacuate the neighborhood and call for a full response. As the response gets there, we come up with a plan that we need to monitor and see if we can figure out where the leak was coming from, and again, evaluate the hazards. So I advised the crews, the truck company crew with the Eagle, I say, hey, I want you on air. I'm concerned about this, I want you on air. So as they walk up, they go up, mask around their shoulder, not on air. I call them back and go, hey, I want you on air. Again, we're so used to working with these products, there's this complacency, and they're like, well, no, we're good, or you need to be on air. So they go on air, they get right around the back, they don't get any readings outside. They go around the back, they find an open butt on a gas appliance out back. The barbecue had been disconnected, that valve was open, so we know where the leak came from, or at least we're pretty sure we know where the leak came from. We monitor the area, we find nothing. I say, okay, we need to ensure that nothing traveled into the house. Can we start monitoring the house as careful as we can? So they monitor the whole house, they come back and they say, hey, we monitored the house, everything is clear except the garage. We could not get into the garage, but we put the meter underneath the garage door and it was clear. So if you understand the product, you right now should be going, yeah, that's a red flag, because natural gas does not sink, it rises. So monitoring under the door is not clearing the environment because you're not going to expect to find it there. Which then led to the next question, have you checked the attic? And they had not. So again, this attitude with these is what usually gets us in trouble, and this kind of complacency. I know I've used that word quite a bit, but that's really what it is. And so I want to encourage you, know your enemy. You're going to battle this enemy often, so you better understand its properties and where it's going to go so that you can mitigate the hazard as best as possible. And when we run these calls, treat them all real, not just, oh, we're going on another odor check. They can be incredibly dangerous. We can mitigate these risks by understanding them. We can mitigate these risks with training, and a proper response. So go down the rabbit hole, look some of this stuff up. You'll find quite a bit of information. Know your enemy, know your job, keep training, keep doing what you're doing, and have a good shift.